Hey everybody! All right, we got a special panel here. Kind of three people. I think three people could be a panel. I don't know, but we're going to talk about Baja Con, and then we're going to react to a video. So it's gonna be pretty fun. But y'all know I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. All right. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about Baja Con. We got Jason Freer here and Jeff Brooks. How we doing, guys?
Good. Doing excellent. How are you doing, Brentley?
Hell yeah, hanging in there, doing great. It's Sunday, so still the weekend. So, yeah. So tell me a little bit about this Baja Con thing. What is this all about?
Well, we got a nice group of people that are gonna join us and have a fun weekend up here in Canada. Yeah.
All right, cool. So where is it exactly? It's in
it's Sarnia Point Edward, which is right across the border from Port Huron, Michigan. So we're literally about 500 meters, is that 1,500 feet? I don't know. Across the U.S.-Canada border. So right there on the border.
Oh, that's nice.
Ontario. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to go too far if you're in America.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I think last year we had people from 27 different states that came. So wow. It's actually pretty central and pretty close to a lot of people, both Canadian.
Oh, that's nice. Do you have to have do you got to have like a passport and everything?
Yeah,
you need a passport to fly in.
What's that?
You need a passport to fly into Canada. You can just come across with your driver's license, basically. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So if you're driving, you're cool, but if you're flying, you gotta go do the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes.
Of course,
sense.
The passport makes things a lot easier and quicker, but you can get in without it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Dude, so and you're gonna have tell me about what is the day layout? So it's like it's over 3 days, right?
Sure is. Yeah. Yeah, we got a VIP dinner on the Friday night after registration. Then Saturday morning we have breakfast. Then we have some speakers. We have lunch, some more speakers, and then we have a dinner, and then we have an after party where we're gonna do some games and card games, like board games, card games. We're gonna have a podcast panel going on.
Oh, yeah. Fun! Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love love conferences. I just went to my first one the other day, so it was
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, the free flow. So, but
okay, yeah,
it's right down the street from. I'm in Florida, so this one's kind of too far for me. I wish I could go, but I'd have to traverse the country.
But if I pull out of my driveway and turn south and drive 19 hours, I'm in Florida. If I turn my driveway and turn north, I'm still in Ontario for 19 hours. So,
oh my God, how does that work? Yeah. That's crazy. Canada's big. That's what that is.
Big. It's big. Yeah,
that's right.
It's like you like water. On the Sunday, we're gonna have breakfast again in the morning, and then we all load onto a boat. We do a 3-hour cruise up and down the St. Clair River, which is the boundary between Canada and the United States. And we have some lunch on board. There's a bar on the boat. The speakers are on there. So if you want to have some questions, you just can't wait to ask one of the speakers, you could catch them on the boat and talk away. They can't, other than jumping overboard, they're talking it. So yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
that's awesome. So it's basically a tour boat where you can point at all the weirdo Americans on the other side. It's like a zoo.
A little bit, yeah. No, it's interesting. We have such a good cross-border relationship. Like it really is. When you get to the borders, like Windsor, Fort Erie, Sault Ste. Marie, Sarnia. Like they really are one city. Like Port Huron and Sarnia are really one city. People go back and forth all the time for lunch and for stuff. Maybe not so much now because there's a little bit of concern about from some Canadians crossing over, which is unfortunate. But it really has been a very close relationship between us, which is really wonderful.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Lots of marriages happening between U.S. and Canada here. Yeah, lots of people dating back and forth, and
Wow, that's so crazy. Like, so that's like the person where they're actually like, no, she's from Canada. They're actually right that time. Like, they're actually telling the truth.
There's plenty of people that travel back and forth for work too.
Yeah, really. Wow.
Yeah. I bet a third of the nurses that work in Port Huron, Michigan, are from Canada.
Do they have to pay taxes to both? Like, how does that work?
Yep.
They
do.
Really? Wow. Got to do income taxes. So wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Double dipping. But they get the good health care though, because of Canada. That's the,
we do pretty well. We're pretty happy with it here.
Right. Oh yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how long have y'all been? Do you do a lot of organizing, or what's y'all's role in this whole thing?
Yeah, both Jeff and I are on the board of directors. Jeff is our vice president. We have a president and a couple other people help us out, and we put it all together. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How fun. That's great. So, and both of y'all you would consider yourself atheists?
I prefer secular humanist, but yes, definitely an atheist.
Oh, okay. No, I get it. I always say that the humanism comes first, and then the atheist is second.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd rather talk about what I do believe rather than what I don't.
That's right.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I'm also an East Santa Clausist, so I don't.
Right. Yeah. Get into that whole conversation. Exactly. Yeah. It's weird that we even have to have a position for it. We're like, this is a thing I don't believe in.
Yeah.
Like we could never list all of the things because like most people wouldn't even know all the stuff they don't believe in.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Like I don't even know what that stuff is.
I mean, everybody's an atheist. It's just how many gods, right? So where
very true.
Unfortunately, not everybody's a humanist. I think our goal is to get more people to be humanists.
Right. No, yeah, I totally agree there. That is because and you got that on both sides of the atheist coin too. It's not like all atheists. A lot of them will call themselves humanists and then go exactly against humanism.
That's frustrating. Yeah, there's dicks on both sides of that coin, right? Like there's atheists that are just as big of jerks as Christians. So, and there are Christians that are closer to humanists than some atheists. So, absolutely.
Yeah, because it's not like, and it's not like the conference. Like, if you're a Christian humanist, you can't go or anything like that. Like, you can still go and enjoy yourself as long as you have those core beliefs. That's
100%. Yeah, we really make a point to when we have our speakers, and we don't ask our speakers what to talk about. They just come talk about whatever they want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
We do look for speakers that have a variety of expertise, and we don't want a conference that's just let's beat up on religion for 3 days, right? Because that's been there, done that. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
How can we educate ourselves and learn more stuff and have interesting conversations and discussions, right? So that's where we get like Forrest Balkai and Gutsick Gibbon coming this year, Dr. Andrew White, who's an anthropologist, like just some really interesting science-based information, not just religion sucks.
Right. Yeah. When I saw Forrest, he did the one that he did was like how science makes us a better person. Mm-hmm. And it was all about how you can come to like conclusions about being a humanist through nothing more than science. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. He did a fantastic speech here last year. It was amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he had to have him come back again.
I can imagine. Like he does the music and everything. He's got
a whole so impressive.
Right. It was funny because I saw like a clip of one of his talks before I went to Free Flow, and it's like he's doing it. It's like really inspiring sounding. He does like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's almost like a monologue, but a really inspiring one. Almost like the president at the end of Independence Day or something. It's like really pumping everything. The music is going, and I was like, oh, they must have put that music in in post or whatever on the TikTok or whatever. No, that was there. That was live. He has like music to like emphasize in the background while he's talking. It's pretty awesome. I wonder how much he had to practice. It's pretty cool. I was like, God damn, that was very engaging. Yeah, that was really good. But yeah, that's really cool. Hold on, let me see. Let me get the poster back up for a second. I know it's going to cover us, but except for the chat. Chat gets to always break through somehow. But all right, so we got Seth Andrews, Forrest. Let's see who else we got. I'm having trouble seeing it. We got
Dr. Abby Hafer.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Dr. Phil Zuckerman and Dr. Anthony Pinn. We have Jasmine Falk. We have Dr. Andrew White, Dr. Christopher DiCarlo, Gutsick Gibbon, and John Loftus. So,
hell yeah, whole crowd. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I always say the last time I was around that many doctors, someone was snapping a glove. So,
right, that's right. That's awesome. Oh yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun, man. I think everybody's gonna really enjoy that.
It's such a broad group of expertise and a broad range of topics, right? Like everyone is different and unique, and just will bring something different to the table. So yeah, fun.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, like I think coming together and being in person, it's like a really important thing that we got to start doing more. And conferences are like the best game in town for that. Because because everybody's getting too online. And
that's right.
Like, we need to get back in person here.
I agree. And that's one thing I think when people leave religion, one of the hardest parts I think for people is that loss of community, right? Like, because religion gives you community. And so having these types of things gives you a chance to get together as a community, talk to like-minded people, have a drink, shoot the shit, meet new friends, meet new people. We have a couple that met last year at our conference that are now engaged and going to get married. So you just never know what's going to happen when you get and have that sense of community, right?
Holy shit. Yeah, that's awesome. That's like life-changing event at that.
It is a life-changing event for sure.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. No, it really is important too. And it is hard. It's difficult, I think. But that's why I'm glad that you like include the humanist aspect of it. Because herding, it's like herding cats, trying to get everybody to agree with each other, at least enough to come to a conference. But but that is really
so friendly. Everybody's so friendly there. It's amazing.
Right.
All the speakers wander around. You could be sitting at a table with Seth or any one of the speakers. It's all round table seating.
Oh, nice.
So yeah. I mean, a lot of conventions is the speakers come, they give their speech, and then they take off. You don't see them again, right? But here they're with you through it the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're sitting with you at dinner. They're talking to them between the sessions, the other speakers. So it's really, really friendly. It's really cool.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. And it's amazing how often these people that you watch on YouTube like every day, you forget they're just people. You know what I mean? Like they're just cool regular people. Oh yeah. It was why like you got the only thing I gotta say is like to folks go into this, you got to get over that initial hump. Just go up to people. Just go up with your hand out. Or just wait for someone to tell a joke and then just start laughing. It's like, anyway. How you guys doing? How you doing? That was good.
Like Seth Andrews has said, like this is one of his favorite conferences because it's like that. He loves talking to people. He loves engaging his audience and having those conversations. So don't ever be afraid. They're all such approachable, fun people to just sit and have a chat with.
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's also in Canada, so it's like the nicest people on planet Earth.
We're up there. Yeah, we're up there.
Yeah.
As long as there's no geese around, I think we're in good shape.
As it's true.
Safety goes.
We call them here. They're known as cobra chickens. So,
cobra chickens.
Cobra chickens. The Canada goose. Yeah. So
I love it.
So that's just try to take us as your 51st state and see what happens when we let the geese loose on you.
Oh, Ember, thank you so much. Ember, could you tell us who these guests are for X? I know Dr. Z is on the Secular Studies Board, but not everyone does. How many of these names are new to us? Are you talking on the panel that I put up? Well, let me see. It's so small for me because I'm just on my little iPad thing. But you're talking these names of the speakers? Guys, a lot of them are new, I think. They're new to me. I mean, I know Seth, Forrest, and Gut Sick Gibbon, but yeah, I don't know a lot of the doctors there. But
Yeah, so John Loftus, he's written a number of books on atheism and humanism. Dr. Anthony Pinn, he's a professor who specializes in like African American, the history of religion in the African American culture, and with the impact that it's had on that.
okay.
Dr. Andrew White, he's an anthropologist, and he has done a lot of work in ancient ruins of the Middle East. So is very good to speak about how there is no evidence for the things that people say happen.
Right.
Jasmine Falk, she was born in the Middle East. She again, I'm not sure what she's going to talk about, but she does a lot of talks on feminism and rights of women and that kind of stuff.
Right on.
Yeah, Dr. Abby Hafer, she wrote a really good book called The Not So Intelligent Design. So she talks a lot about evolution and creation and how those things are compatible.
Right.
It's a great book, and if you get the audio book, you get the bonus that Seth Andrews actually narrates it. So you get to listen to Seth Andrews
Gosh, he does
narrate the book.
That's awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just great to listen to. We had someone on our website call his voice honey-coated thunder. So
honey-coated thunder. I love it. That's funny. Yeah, that's about right. So
we have a wide variety of speakers and on topics and stuff that you're gonna.
The speakers are going to be great. Plus, the podcast panel on the Saturday night, where we're going to have 8 podcasters join us up on stage. It's going to be pretty fantastic too.
Yeah,
8 podcasters. Wow, that's going to get cacophonous right there. Once you get those podcasters together, it's crazy. No, throw some drinks in there, and you never know what's going to happen.
That's right. The bar will be open, so anything could go. So
that's awesome.
Come for that alone, the excitement of that, and just the unknown would be worth the price of admission. So
right. Just for the spectacle of it all.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Always ends up with somebody streaking through the crowd. It's okay.
It's normally me.
Running from a goose. Yeah. It's me. Oh, that's awesome. Oh God. No, that is gonna be so much fun. Yeah. Wish I could be there for that one. Holy shit. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, so I got this video here right now. I don't know how familiar y'all are with William Lane Craig. I haven't watched this. I like to kind of go into them fresh a lot of times, but a lot of time what we'll do is we'll just react and we'll just kind of pause it as we go through, hear what their arguments are, and see what they're saying. It's kind of fun.
It's all gibberish.
Pretty much, yeah. And this one, like I said, like this has William Lane Craig reacts to Kent Hovind. So I was like, holy shit, it's everybody in here. Wow.
I can't see them disagreeing too much.
I know, right? Oh. Yeah, probably not. They're kind of I think it's funny too, though, because they actually do go back and forth at each other about young Earth creationism.
I guess.
Because William Lane Craig is like, trying to sound like he's rational or whatever. And so, he doesn't buy the 6,000-year-old Earth like I was raised believing. But yeah, and Kent Hovind was one of the people that I saw his videos quite often, because that was, my teachers and stuff would play his videos along with our schoolwork to be like, here's why science is stupid, but why they're all lying.
Actually, I remember seeing his videos on YouTube, I think, and I remember thinking, like, because he just throws all these stupid arguments at you, but I'm not smart enough to know them all, to debunk them all. So some of these things he's saying, I'm like, well, I don't understand Like, does he have a point? Does he not have a point? And there's
Right.
a guy on YouTube, his handle's Logic. And this is a number of years ago now. And Logic did a debunk videos of every point that Kent Hovind had brought up in his videos. It was
Jeez.
fantastic, right? Because stuff I didn't understand, he was able to break down and say, well, no, that's not true, and this is why. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, Logic is amazing. I really like I still watch him. I want to say almost every week. Like, he's really, really, really helpful. Like, especially for folks that like were again like raised like I was. Well, you're looking at it from such a narrow view, even if though you're like trying to think about things differently as you get older or whatever, and you're like, oh, I got to think about things better. It's still helpful, like just to hear the way that he breaks it down, because it's like, oh yeah, obviously it would be like that, because you can get lost in the fallacies and stuff. It can be kind of confusing if you're not really familiar with it.
Yeah. And I recommend checking out his Kent Hovind videos, if nothing else, for the custom theme song he's made to start it up about Kent Hovind. It's actually pretty good. Kent Hovind dancing in a dunce cap.
Oh, really? Casey, Godless Engineer is going to be there too? I didn't realize he was going to that one. Oh, that's awesome. On the poster. That's funny. I didn't want to say anything because I was like, I thought that he had said he was going to be going to that when we had hung out the other day. But I didn't see him on there. So I was like, I don't want to, maybe they canceled or whatever. You need to get him on the poster. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, him and Casey came last year too.
Oh, hell yeah. Wow. Y'all go to all those, don't you? That's awesome. Holy shit. That's so cool. Yep. But hell yeah. Yeah, John and Casey are so fun. We had a blast at Free Flow. It's great. I like the most. I think I like the in-between stuff the most. I mean, I don't know, but I have ADHD and it's really hard for me to sit still. I don't know if that comes through as I'm sitting here. So like sitting for the speakers, I would like, I like that part too. I like hearing the speakers and everything, but getting to hang out with everybody was it's an absolute favorite part of it. Oh yeah. All right, let's see what these guys got to say. And you're right. This could turn it's funny that you like the way that you broke it down at first. Like sometimes of the stuff I don't know, because this might turn into the time when I tried to debunk a flat earther and it did not go well for me, because I didn't know anything about Earth stuff. I guess I don't know. It's very. I was disappointed. I was like, I know he's wrong, but I don't really. I don't know why he's wrong. I don't. You know what I mean? All right, here we go.
I am confused. Being philosophically consistent and being a very honest person, I'm sure you can tell me where God came from. And in addition, once you've told me where God comes from,
I love the scary music. There's like scary music going on. I don't know if everybody out there can hear. It's like a horror movie. Like there's an atheist talking right now. Yeah. It's like...
Please try to clarify how you can figure that a spiritual force can have an impact on a material universe to create it.
All right, your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant.
Well, that's unfortunate because matter didn't come into existence at the beginning. Like, time existed for a long time before matter did. That's funny. And it's crazy that I even know that. Honestly, that's one of the few it's one of the few things I know about stuff. Jesus.
Because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. So you have time, space, matter, created a trinity of trinities there. Just, time is past, present.
Wow, he's just making a bunch of stuff up. Like he's just like the Bible says. It refers to the time and the space.
Not answering the question. Like, answer the question.
That's true. You're right. It's like, yeah. And all he said about the who created God was like, well, you're thinking of the wrong God. Next question. Like, oh, wait, what? And it's funny when they do this because it's like they always say oh, it's got to be outside. Because right now he's basically just explaining why a God couldn't exist if it's outside of space, time, and matter. because he's like, oh, then when could it be? Like, that's exactly the type of questions you would ask about a God existing. It's like, well, when you can't exist for 0 seconds, you know, and if you exist outside of space, well, then you're nowhere. You don't exist. You're just describing
exactly.
something.
You don't exist. Yeah.
Describing nothing.
Right. Yeah. You're describing literally nothing.
And on that point, we agree.
Right. Yeah. He's right, actually. Accidentally right. There you go.
Future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously, and the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well, then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that form by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think?
Wow, he got all the way around to the transcendental argument. That's pretty impressive. Okay.
I think he's certainly demonstrated that you can't trust your brain, because you certainly can't trust his level of thought there.
Right. Yeah, you can't trust his brain. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's exactly what he just said, is he can't trust his own brain.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and
you have these emotions that can control you and aren't a physical thing. Well, I would argue that dopamine is a very physical thing, amongst other chemicals that are what make your brain work. And we can add chemicals to make the brain work different, right? I mean, there's not a single part of your brain we can't change with either surgery or drugs or something. It's absolutely a physical thing.
It's funny because, like, I always bring up when they talk about, like, oh, love is like evidence. Like, if we're just matter and motion or whatever, then, like, what's up with love? How is love a thing? And I'm like, dude, we can literally make love happen. All you got to do is take this stuff called MDMA, and you're in love with everybody. Okay. We can make this emotion happen. Like, literally.
Absolutely.
But and then to say, like, you can't trust your own senses, they always try to do that whole thing, which is basically just like trying to needle at the entire field, really, of philosophy of epistemology, and just be like, well, answer the problem of hard solipsism and how you know anything is real, actually. And it's like, oh my God, trying to go down that line of reasoning, it takes forever.
And although you can't always, I don't disagree that your senses don't always give you accurate information. That's why we have this thing called, I don't know, science.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's experimentation and double-blind studies and
because we got to get around all those limitations of our mind.
Exactly.
And it's not perfect, and we do our best, but it's not nothing either. They're very absolutist about it, because they're like, if you can't be 100%, then you're at 0%. And it's like, that's not right. Like, we can be somewhere in the middle here, because it's not perfect. Doesn't equal doesn't work at all. You know,
there's no gray area.
Right. No, at all. Yeah. Jesus.
I think it was maybe Lawrence Krauss that said, I don't know is a perfectly good answer to any question, right?
Oh yeah.
To say I don't know, therefore God, I mean, isn't a leap you can logically take.
No, exactly. Yeah. And that was like such a hard, it's so weird. Like, when you're, and I don't know how y'all were raised, we can get into that, but if you're raised a Christian, it was like a really difficult thing to get past in my mind, to stop acting like I knew stuff. But it was such a relief when I was like, oh wait, I don't have to pretend that I know stuff I don't know. And it was like, oh my God, that's it's like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. I was like, oh good, I don't have to just keep acting like this stuff is true. And then when people ask me how I know, I have to keep on, getting stuff out, like evidence or whatever, where I'm almost trying to convince myself as I'm trying to convince them, and just hoping that the evidence is good evidence and stuff, because I already decided that I'm right about this. So I gotta, you know what I mean? But how were y'all raised? Were you raised religious, or where did you come from there?
I was raised non-religious. All of my extended family is religious, though. It's all RLDS, so Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ, almost Mormons, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Interesting.
I was my father was atheist. My mom would take us to the United Church of Canada, which is a very forward-thinking church as far as churches go. I mean, back in the 80s, we had a congregation in the city I was born and raised in that had a transgender minister, right?
Oh, wow.
Which wasn't a problem. They, gay marriage has not been an issue with the United Church. So in that regard, they're very forward-thinking. But I can't say I honestly believed in a lot of the stuff that came out. For me, it was more of a social event because my best friend at the time, his dad was the minister, and we went to separate schools, and so we would see each other at church, and so we would hang out and that kind of. So it wasn't really that there wasn't a hard line where it was like, I really believe all this stuff, and then all of a sudden something happened and I don't. As I got older and got into school and got into science and ended up working in the medical field, and you just can't put those two things together. You can't.
Especially in the medical field. It's the worst place to be a Christian. Man, God sucks, dude. Why does he let all this happen?
You can't say God loves everybody and God is love and God is all powerful, and oh, by the way, I'm going up to the children's cancer floor today, right? Like, it just isn't compatible.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That one, that was a tough one for me. I because you're right. There is, I can see why people want to believe stuff. I can really.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's comforting to think, hey, there's got to be something looking out for us, right? But then you look in history and you're like, nope, nothing's looking out. Like, there's holy shit, the history of things that have happened, on the horrific things that have happened and are still happening, really, on the other side of the globe right now. But like, yeah, and there's no God to be found to like save these people, and slavery, the Holocaust, like you just name it. There's so many atrocities and disgusting things, and it's like people seem to think like that couldn't possibly happen again, and it couldn't happen here. And it's like, dude, we really need,
and it couldn't happen to them,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, no, dude,
until it does.
Right, exactly. That's
and then it's like, oh, I did something bad.
Exactly, right. It's like we're in charge here. We got to work together to make sure stuff doesn't happen. Yeah.
Like 10,000 kids starve to death every day. You really think God is helping you find your car keys? Like, I think that's a priority. Let me find your keys.
Right. But yeah, he lets the kids starve, but your keys was a priority.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, that is, it is just a way, I guess, to just not be terrified. I think of reality.
That's what it is. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's scarier to think that nothing is driving this sucker. You'd rather think a genocidal psychopath is driving the planet than like, Jesus, that's so crazy. Here we go.
Okay, so.
He gets cheers for that. Okay. Well.
Your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God. And that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
Well, I thought this was a great response. It was good to see Kent Hovind in this video. His son, Chad, was actually our children's youth pastor.
He's doing the old Christian thing. Actually, my brother's sister, Aunt Sue, her son was actually, they did a ministry together. Okay.
I know this guy. Yeah,
exactly.
Because indoctrinating children in bullshit is really something that you really need to put on a pedestal, right?
Oh yeah, gosh, yep. It's crazy too how they'll sit there and be so they'll promote like they're like putting indoctrination stuff like children's ministry they call it, but they'll promote that, but then they'll say that any kid learning anything about anything their religion wouldn't want that kid to learn about, that's indoctrination. It's opposite. Too much information is indoctrination. Apparently, that's how that goes. Because it's that shit is just really offensive to me personally when they start talking about indoctrination at public schools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I was homeschooled. Like, I know what being indoctrinated actually is. And it's like, you can't indoctrinate somebody into not your religion. That's not how it works. Okay.
No.
You know, but that's how they hear it. They're like, oh, if you're not indoctrinating them into my religion, then you're indoctrinating them to atheism. And it's like, that's not,
which is Satanism, apparently, according to them, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Oh yeah, we worship demons.
Yeah, yeah.
The people burning books have never been on the right side of history.
No.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. Right. 100%. And they're the ones. Yeah, exactly. And they're always trying to. The reason that they burn those books has always been to like limit information of empathy towards other people. You know, that are different.
And limit thought and limit people from coming up with their own ideas, right? They want to focus on one message and not expose people to things that are different.
Right.
Do not eat that apple. That apple that's in that book. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
That is. It's the knowledge. Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
It's crazy.
When we moved back to the United States from Belgium, and I thought that in this video, he did a very commendable job of handling this common objection. What he wants to say here is that God is a transcendent being who is therefore timeless, spaceless, and immaterial.
Non-existent. That's just equals non-existent.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's so funny when they say that.
Yeah. Provide an example of anything that has those criteria that actually exist.
Right.
Like,
you're
just making shit up.
Right. And it's funny because it's like, I've heard that. Did you see that video where it was like there was a professor, I guess an atheist professor, and he said that exact thing, right? And he asked the student, and of course, the student is like, logic. And he's like, oh, everybody's like, oh man, you got him. And I was just thinking of like, and logic only exists in the brains of humans. So I'd actually agree that your God is exactly like logic. Yep. It's made up by people.
Yeah.
Yeah. to help us out as a tool, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and logic is exactly the same way. It's really irritating when people act like logic is a thing that exists, like,
Yes.
Like it's something to be discovered and not something that was fucking curated over time.
That's right.
By people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And logic does not have the power to murder the oldest child of every Egyptian family. So
thank goodness. I mean, let's be real. Thank goodness, because that would be a bloodbath. You know? It'd be like a Vulcan just taking people out. But Jesus, yeah. That's funny.
And who is the creator of time, space, and matter. And it seems to me that that's exactly correct. I was impressed, moreover, that he didn't forget the gentleman's other objection, but came back to it in the end, namely about how can a spiritual reality have effects in the physical world. And what Hovind pointed out is that in our own experience, our minds have causal effects upon our brains and bodies. And phenomenal states of consciousness like love, joy, anxiety, fear cannot be plausibly attributed to brains.
What are you talking about that can't be plausibly attributed to brain? Like that's exactly what they're attributed to. Like what? It's a magical spirit floating around in there. That's where your emotions come from. What? Why? Because it feels funny. I don't know. Like I never understand the emotions thing. Like emotions are so easily explained, it's unbelievable. You know, it's the logical brain part that's a little bit more hard to, you know what I mean? That's the part where it's like, oh, okay, when you start going against your emotions so that you can be reasonable and stuff like that or whatever. Like, but that's where I think it's a little bit more interesting. But
100%,
emotions, every animal has emotion. A fucking cockroach has like, oh, I'm scared, and runs away.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. My brother had a brain injury many years ago, and as part of his treatment and assessment plan, they did what they call a PET scan. So they put in radioactive sugar, and they put you in a CT machine, and they show you pictures or they ask you questions, and the sugar shows what part of the brain is lighting up and firing for various things. So can very easily tell what makes you angry, what makes you anxious, because you can physically see it as what part of the brains are pulling up that sugar and what synapses are firing. 100%. It's
Wow, that's so cool, and it's funny. So I'm glad you described that, because I always find those experiments so interesting, and it's like the one that always comes to mind is like when they had people take, doing those PET scans, and they would ask them what they think somebody else thought. Like they'd ask them what they thought about something. They're like, what do you think about XYZ? And they would like go, oh, I think this, and then a certain part of the brain would light up. And then they'd ask them what they think somebody else would think, but like somebody that they know, like their mom or something. And then be like, oh, my mom would think this, and a different part of their brain would light up. And then when they asked them what they thought God would think, it went to the part of the brain that was them again. So it was just, yeah. So it was like, isn't that wild? It's like, because it's not an actual person, it's just something they made up in their own mind. Yeah. And it's a pretty good demonstration of that. Yeah, kind of interesting.
Or body. The brain is not jubilant. The brain is not worried. The brain is not afraid. I am.
The brain is you. Like, hold on. What? You're not part of your brain's not you? Like, what's that?
I think he's saying he doesn't have a brain.
Yeah. That's a separate thing.
Yeah.
I do not identify with my brain. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean, just like the afraid alone, I mean, the fight or flight response and the way that, adrenaline affects how your brain works is very well established and well known. We know that scientifically. We know that when you get scared, or when someone's gonna jump out at you with a knife, right. We know the chemicals that get released, and we know the response it has on your body. It's all very physical.
Oh yeah, and it's crazy too, because like we're saying, the emotions are what come first. All of the thinking part is usually people like rationalizing around their emotions, and that's where you get into like that real hard determinist type stuff. Like in philosophy, where it gets really interesting and really confusing all at the same time. Where you're just like, wait a second, I don't make any choices, and you kind of don't. I mean, you do and you don't. I don't know. It's hard to, it's hard to really.
I almost wonder if it's a way to excuse themselves from responsibility.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't help it. My brain did it. So I can't help it.
Yeah.
Devil made me do it.
Yeah, they got that too. So they got a devil. Oh, that's funny.
And so these phenomenal states of consciousness are most plausibly attributed to an immaterial mind. Theologically, you call that a soul, and the mind or soul has effects causally upon our brains and bodies. And
that's not been demonstrated and to be the case ever. Like. And in fact, quite the opposite, because it's like we could see, and I remember Shannon Q, she would talk about this quite a bit, because when people would ask her, like, why is Christianity not true? Her whole thing was, well, because souls don't exist. Here's the neuroscience of why that's the case, Yeah. And most of it was like about why it's like the way that your personality literally can change if you get hit in the head just right, or if some type of change happens to your brain.
Yeah, for sure.
You would never expect that to be the case, because that's like, you are your personality according to them that believe in the soul, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you got your brain damage, it would just be like your arm just stops working or something. It would be like your stomach doesn't digest now, or whatever. Like it wouldn't be, I'm a whole different person now. Like,
Yeah.
And
I mentioned my brother having a brain injury years ago, and his personality completely changed.
No, really?
Yeah, like before, just back in 1990, before he had a very short fuse. Like loved my brother to death. He'd be the guy in the parking lot Saturday night looking for a fight, right? He'd be working on his truck, and the swearing would start, the wrenches would fly. And after his head injury, he couldn't get angry anymore. He can get frustrated, but he can't get angry. It completely changed his personality. My grandmother at the time said she actually liked him better after the head injury, but it was. But so which is he? So when he goes to heaven, which soul is it? Is it Angry John, or is it not Angry John, because they were completely different personalities.
Wow,
Right?
that is wild.
100% different.
I wish I could not get angry. I need
in your brain is at the back of your brain. It's like your lizard brain, right? That old response. And because of the pressure in his brain, that part of his brain got killed off. So doesn't exist anymore. So his anger response isn't there.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's so crazy. I actually need that one. If they could do that to me, I would really love it.
You see it with people with dementia, where their personality completely changes, right? Like, lovely, people that have never said a harsh word to anybody, like swear their face off when they, but sometimes when they get dementia or get violent or have all these, these changes in personality. So, like, how does that happen if your personality isn't a physical thing that's damaged?
Right. If it's the ghost driving the machine, you would never expect any of that to happen.
Exactly.
And they don't have any good argument for this. The only arguments that I've ever heard in response, which is it's weird because they never seem to address what I actually just said, which is all of what we were just saying. They'll say, well, what about those videos on YouTube that say that, like, they put words on top of the hospital, and so the souls would float up, and then they could see the words that were on top of the hospital and described it to the hospital staff during a near-death experience, and how did they know that was up there? Have you heard those type of stories?
Yes.
It's
called there's a scientific word for that. It's called bullshit.
Yeah.
So
lying.
There's never been a reported case of it. There's been a number of studies done. Never ever has there been evidence that that's actually happened. It's one of those stories somebody says that then gets repeated to somebody else, and eventually everybody believes it. 2,000 years ago, they then wrote it in a book, and now people read it and I have to put up with it in my hotel room. So
right. It's just that, but like a future version. Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Yeah, because that's what I respond. Like, that anybody can put videos on YouTube. Like, anybody can say stuff and whatever they want on YouTube, man. Like, there's you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. My car runs on unicorn parts. I don't know if people do that. So I don't ever like that. My car runs on unicorn parts, and it's now out on YouTube, so it's true. It's an actual thing.
I really want to see that gas pump.
What do they smell like?
Kind of like Skittles, actually. Interesting.
Smell good.
All right, yeah. I think you drove by me the other day.
I think I did. Yeah.
Smells like burnt Skittles. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's too funny.
The same way God, as an immaterial, unembodied mind or spirit, can have influences, causal effects in time, in space, and on matter.
And the other thing too, like just based on that last part, what he's saying is, it literally is assumed to not be that 100% in science. Like, science assumes that if there were any kind of God, that it can't interact with reality because the laws of nature always behave the exact same way. And that assumption put into science is always proved to be correct, that these laws don't bend, for any magic,
It kind of takes away the man was created in God's image if God doesn't have an image.
Right. I always wonder, what the hell is the image thing? I never know what that means. Like, what do I care what he looks like? I don't give a shit. What does how's that help me? Because and you'll hear people too saying like, oh man, humans have value. And they're like, why? Well, because we're made in God's image. And we're like, so if we were made in some other image, we wouldn't have value? Is that what you're saying? Because, like, what does the image have to do with it? I never understand that one.
I'm pretty sure my cat believes that he is actually in God's image. I'm 100% convinced that he believes that. So
I think cats are gods, actually.
He would not disagree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. ASQR, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, Jeff, I shoved you in your high school locker. Why'd you do that? That's not nice.
That sounds like a mean thing.
Yeah, that's mean. I like that. Humanist around here, okay? We don't do the bullying thing.
Right. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
There you go. Yeah, I was gonna say the whole litter box thing. That whole thing even started because someone suggested in response to long lockdowns during school shooting incidents / threats. Doug, them saying that they were putting the kitty litter box.
Oh yeah.
My mom said that she knew somebody about that too. She was like, "Yeah, my friend actually works for the school, and they are putting it." I'm like, "Mom, stop lying. Stop lying."
No, that's not true.
Like she works for the school board. I'm like, "Which school? Just tell me the name of the school, and we can check this out." No, nothing.
People said it in your Congress or your Senate, like they put on the floor, they bring up this bullshit stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm like it's insane. I was floored there a few weeks ago. Well, I shouldn't say that. Nothing surprises me anymore. But my son is a fencer, so I know a little bit about fencing, and just from watching him. And when all this big controversy in the U.S. about a transgender fencer, like and then they bring in the coach of the U.S. fencing team or into a Senate hearing about government efficiency, which fencing doesn't even get money from the government.
No, I get money from rich people that donate.
My son is like, it's so ridiculous. Like as a fencer, he has to fence against a guy who's 6'6". David's like 5'10". That is a much bigger advantage for the guy that's 6'6" than if somebody's transgender. Like it doesn't even make sense, right? It's this bullshit. Find a minority group that we can pick on, and those and the immigrants. And I think this has probably happened in the history in the past, right? I think there's examples of this actually happening.
Oh yeah. This is not new.
Times.
And they're so one-sided. Like they're like, well, I don't want some, we don't want some, guy with, transgender woman will go in and using a woman's bathroom. Okay, so you want someone that was born female, that's now transgender male, that has a six-pack and a beard and male pattern baldness, going into the ladies' room, like because that's what your law says, right?
I mean, yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's just crazy.
And what kills me about the bathroom thing too is like the argument that they always want to use is like, well, then they can attack women more easily. And I'm just like, wait a second. So the potential of being able to do a crime more easily means we should ban them from the bath. So can we ban AR-15s then? Because by that logic,
Can't do that. No.
Guns should be illegal because those make it pretty damn easy to do some crimes, Jesus, it's not like if something is a crime, you arrest it, like you do something after they do the crime. You know what I mean? Like you don't feel like, well, somebody might be able to do it. No, that's not how
that's not how it works.
Things. Yeah, it's crazy.
And the evidence suggests that transgender people are more likely to be the victim of violence, not the perpetrator.
Right. Yeah, and we have seen that.
I've been using men's rooms my whole life, as I'm sure you have as well. I have never walked in and people are swinging it around in the men's room. So I've never been in the ladies' room. I'm assuming they're not walking around naked in the ladies' room. I don't know. I'm assuming that's the case. Like, who cares and who even knows? Like, it's just such a.
Why you want to burst that bubble, Jeff?
Well, I've never actually been in the men's room with you, Jason, so I can't actually say for sure that nobody walks around swinging it. But
I do it every
speaking through the conference thing. It's just a ludicrous argument. Like, let people be their happiest person, and it doesn't impact me at all. Why do I care?
Yeah, it's just for some reason, and I don't know the exact. I don't know. It freaks them out. I don't know because they're so like used to the binary thinking and everything, and so when they don't know exactly, like when everything isn't lined up all perfect like that, they're like, I can't handle it, and it makes them super angry. And then like they also are just like, they for some reason in like conservative Christian culture, there's like this weird idea that you like own your children or something. And you can do with them like whatever you want because they're just basically your property. And so that anytime thinking that they can't control their child in that way, specifically about like gender, it drives them crazy for whatever reason.
But Seth Andrews did a talk at BAHA last year, the year before, on purity culture, and it was scary shit. Like, not saying I'm familiar with here, but oh my gosh, like it was scary. Where like their daughters are basically dating their dads, like, and their dad gives them a ring and takes them to a prom, and it was really disturbing.
It's weird.
Yeah,
Super weird. Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of that. So when I was coming up, there was this book, and I think this dude actually deconverted and deconstructed now. His name is Josh Harris, and he did a book called I Kissed Dating Goodbye. And our church like taught courses on it. It was like, hey, here's how not to date or whatever, and so they would come in, and the whole thing was courting, which courting is like much more about the parents than it is about the actual people getting married or in the relationship, right? And it was just like the kids aren't allowed to be alone together. I call them kids. These are adults though. These were like 18-year-olds or whatever. And but it was like the woman would go straight from her father to the husband, and the father had to be the one that like approved, and he had to ask permission to the father to get married to him, because again, she's property. It's really messed up. But I think I think that dude actually deconstructed and deconverted from Christianity.
That's what I'd heard. Yeah.
Really? You did? Okay. Yeah. Makes good sense. Because I think once he like kind of got wind of like how harmful his book actually was, I think he probably had some change of heart there,
Yeah. Gosh, if it wasn't for premarital sex, I wouldn't have had any sex at all.
Right? It's like that is what a weird thing. It's like you're asking people to have bad relationships. I swear to God, don't have sex till you get married. And then you get people, especially kids, like, and they like most of the people in my church that were like that, they would get married at like 17 and a half. And they would make sure to say the half every time you asked them. 17 and a half. Yeah, I'm almost 18. But they would be getting married, just so they could have sex, not realizing that, you're a different person by the time you're 25. Just full stop, you are. And so a lot of divorce going on. It's not good.
No, or unhappy marriages, like in some religious groups where divorce is not really even allowed, or very, very shunned upon. Like both men and women end up living in very sad relationships, and for why? Like, it's such a loss for them.
Yeah. I mean, there was the one, I really like this podcast called God Awful Movies, and it's like a comedy show where they sort of walk you through Christian movies, like scene by scene, and explain it and tell jokes and stuff. And one of the movies that they did was called Loving the Bad Man. And it was all about how this woman, this wife of a guy, should like forgive her abusive husband and stay in the relationship. And that was like the message of the movie, was to just keep being abused for Jesus. Which is, wow, that is disgusting. I was just like, wow. That was one of my first like dominoes to fall when I was deconstructing. It was like a really old episode, but it was like stuff you just didn't, I never thought of it like that perspective. I always just thought like, you think of when you're like growing up Christian, you think of, oh, it's just the sweet old grandma and the families are all together and everybody is so beautiful. Everybody's having a great time. And it's like, but it's not like that. It's actually like a horror show in a lot of ways. Right. But it's, they cover over it with this like weird, like this is like the best way to be veneer. It's just not, Yeah. No illusions. Exactly. Except Grand Theft Auto bot. How we do it. Yeah. It's like No Illusions and Heath and Eli. They're called the Puzzle and the Thunderstorm crew. And they do a bunch of shows. Yeah, really good stuff. Like
super entertaining.
Oh my God. Yeah. You've listened to
Yeah.
some of their stuff?
Oh yeah.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very talented. I saw them live. Actually, that was one of my first actual in-person events, was seeing them live in Orlando. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. But, yeah, I need more like in-person stuff. Like, do y'all have like meetup groups like in your area and everything?
We do a monthly event, sometimes twice a month. We'll do something. Yeah, we do breakfast once a month, and then we'll do a pub night, basically, or pub afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a bunch y'all, or is it pretty limited?
Yeah, I think the most we've ever had out for like a breakfast is probably around 30 or so people show up. We normally have a private room and restaurant.
Damn.
You know, and then pub. You know, a dozen or more people. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. No, that's awesome. I wasn't sure if it would be that 30. That's quite a bit. I was thinking like maybe 4 or 5 people would show up if I did a meetup in my town. I don't know. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun, and different people. Different people come certain months and others other months. And it's great. You get a chance to just very casual to sit around, get to know people.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
So I look forward to it all the time. Yeah, it's highlights of the month for me. Yeah.
That's so cool. Oh yeah. I gotta put
the
that up.
restaurant we have breakfast at. It's an Indian restaurant, so it's kind of that. You can have your bacon and eggs and sausage if you want, but they also have some Indian breakfast options as well. So it's kind of cool. You can try
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you all would you say that you like organized to kind of fight back against this sort of Christian nationalist thing going on here? What do you think about this whole thing going on?
It's crazy. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bit scary, really.
Oh yeah.
It's certainly more of an issue on your side of the border than on ours. Like, although it's here, Canada is more secular than the United States is for sure.
Right.
But
that's right. Y'all are so lucky, man.
Yeah.
We're like looking down the barrel of Gilead over here.
Yeah.
Y'all are just up there going, "What the hell are y'all doing?" Like,
I think the churches are closing here faster than yours are getting built.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And things like women's rights, like abortion is an example, and I know that's a hot topic for a lot of people on both sides of the equation. But in Canada, it's actually covered as part of our healthcare. So it's not even a question. People can, if they wish to get that through healthcare.
That's awesome.
That's something that's being debated in politics. We're starting to see some pushback on transgender healthcare, which scares me. More so in some of our provinces, like Alberta, is much more right wing. I think, and I think it's because they're too close to the Dakotas. I think there's probably some.
They're catching it. They're catching the right.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit there, but for the most part, it isn't an issue in Canada.
I heard it's like the Alberta's like the Texas of
it is the Texas,
Canada.
Yeah, very much.
There are a lot of Texans living in Alberta and vice versa because of the oil fields. Yeah.
So it has oil stuff too. Okay.
It has oil.
Okay.
Although interestingly enough, the first oil well ever drilled, the first time they ever pulled oil out of the ground, is a spot about 30 minutes from where I live here. It's actually in Lambton County, not far from where BAHA Con is going to be. So the oil industry began in Canada. It began in little Lambton County, right on the Canada-U.S. border.
No shit. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. So we're responsible for global warming. Lambton County.
That's what I'm trying to say. And we're sorry. We're sorry about
that. County warden once, I said, you need to change the county slogan to Lambton County, the birthplace of global warming. And he didn't really think that was the image he wanted to portray. But
it was only supposed to be used for lamp oil.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So stop killing all the whales.
Yesterday, Jason and I were at a pub, at our pub day yesterday. The town is called Petrolia because it's where petroleum was found. Oil City is the name of one of the communities. There's Oil Springs, which is close by.
That doesn't sound like a good Springs. I'm just saying. Like, I don't think you want to go there.
It's actually the name of the breweries we went to. We went to Black Gold, so it's all very oil focused in our county.
Wow.
But Alberta has a lot more of it now, so we're willing to do a trade. We're thinking we could trade Alberta to the United States, and in return, we'll take like California, New York State, like we can maybe do a swap of there.
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah.
We'll take the West Coast, right, and then we'll give you Alberta. So.
But then we'd be stuck with nobody but, okay, you know what? Then we're voting right wing forever now. Takeover is guaranteed at that point.
You're in Florida, so you're kind of hooped, right? Like, what can I tell you?
I know, right? Oh my gosh. Do you feel like American politics like influences y'all's politics quite a bit, or do you think, or is that happening more recently, or do you think that it's not?
It does a little bit, for sure. I mean, because Trump won your election, we avoided right wing here, right? So,
Pierre, who was our prime minister back in the 70s and 80s, once said about the United States, about being next to the United States, he said, when you sleep next to an elephant, you're affected every time it rolls over. So there's always an impact because of our closeness, and historically, probably not for the best as it turns out, our economy was very closely tied with the, right? Like, we're the biggest trading partner with the U.S. 80% of our defense budget is spent on stuff, military equipment from the United States.
Wow.
So, but I think we're starting to see a shift in that. Like, we're seeing candidates now looking at the European Union and what kind of ties can we have there. We're looking at, do we buy, instead of buying U.S. fighter jets, do we buy jets out of Sweden?
Wow.
We're looking, South Korea is offered as, looking to build submarines for Canada. So there's a lot of things are shifting and changing. Markets are changing. We're now exporting a lot more oil to China than we used to, right? Because the United States is surcharging oil going into the state.
Damn.
Same with like aluminum and steel. So our fault. Like, we tied ourselves so closely to the U.S. market that when the U.S. market turned against us, we've had to look at other options. And I think that's a good thing globally. I think if we can, all of us, including the United States, can be more global and focused, I think there's a lot of benefit.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I mean, that's what I was going to ask. So, like, did it temporarily, like, while everything's being moved around, are you having issues with the economy, or is it like kind of still? No, really?
Oh, okay. Yeah. We can't buy bourbon. That's my biggest problem in Ontario. I love bourbon, but it's not even. Ontario's pulled it off the shelves, so it's not even available in Ontario.
Wow, that's wild. I mean, I don't blame them at all. Because it's no point in paying that much extra. No. Jeez, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy, and I have no idea, honestly, as to like what the purpose of all of this is. I don't know if he's just trying to screw with things so that he can buy low, sell high kind of shit, or what.
Seems that's a lot of it, right?
Right. That's all I can tell.
Yeah.
It's like he knows he can fuck with the economy, so he's like, all right, now I can just control the stock market, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. He's everything he's done is been done to enrich himself. Like, he doesn't give a shit about Americans or anyone else because he's a billionaire. Like, he doesn't care what the cost of healthcare is because he's a billionaire. He doesn't care what the cost of gas is or the cost of groceries. Like, he didn't know what the word grocery was until last year, apparently. So,
what is a grocery? I don't know. I call it food. You call it groceries. Tomato.
But he's done an amazing job at convincing a large group of people, or a significant group of people, that they're there to help you out. And the truth is, they don't give a rat's ass. Like Elon Musk, he doesn't give a shit. Like,
yeah, that guy's a narcissist. He's a sociopath.
Like, when you're looking at the inauguration and the first front row is all billionaires sitting there, like, do they care about the guy that has to, go and pick up groceries at the corner store this weekend? Like, no, they don't. It's not. And I'm not saying that the other party does more or less. I don't, I'm not big on U.S. politics, but certainly that party doesn't seem to give it.
No, yeah, and Democrats are a bit better. I mean, they got billionaire donors too, but they actually at least advocate for the poorest people, whilst also taking the money from the billionaires. But yeah, definitely not nearly as.
So our politics here in Canada, we don't have that same financial influence. So you can't donate billions of dollars to a political party in Canada. You can't.
Really?
The other thing we have here, which is different, is our campaigns are limited in length. So you can't have a 1-year campaign for an election. Like they're limited in length. There's a time when signs can go up, signs have to come down. Very much more controlled that way. And the other big difference is we don't vote in a prime minister. Like you have a vote for a president. We don't vote in a prime minister. We vote in a party, and the head of that party becomes the prime minister.
Oh.
And if the head of the party changes, so as an example, this year we had Justin Trudeau, who was the head of the Liberal Party. He stepped down. Mark Carney stepped up, become the leader, leadership race. He becomes the prime minister. We never voted Carney in as prime minister. We voted the Liberal government. Your prime minister is always the head of the majority party, which makes things maybe easier to get done. You don't have a president that's on one party and a Congress and a Senate that are on the other side.
Right, where everything just stagnates because we're just all just fighting with each other. Yeah, that's
and our Supreme Court. I couldn't tell you if it leans left or right, and I couldn't tell you I couldn't give you the name of one of our Supreme Court justices. Like there's really no controversy with them. They really do make decisions based on law, based on interpretation of law. There's no political appointments, left and right on the Supreme Court of Canada. Much more seems to be much more neutral for sure.
Wow, yeah. That's great. That sounds so nice to not have to think about the Supreme Court being right or left, and we're so scared about that because every time it was Trump got 3 in there and they blocked one. So it's just, and of course, the party of the billionaires and everything, and the ultra power. It's the right is the Republicans are the power of ultra powerful trying to gain more power, and being pretty goddamn obvious about it. I don't know, when people try to say that the left or the Democrats are all elitist and all this stuff, I'm just like, are you crazy, man? And it's funny because one of the arguments they do this p hacking thing where they'll say, oh no, the Democrats are all about the elites. You know that? Because if you look at where the wealthiest people live, and you got to go to the area code, that area code of the wealthiest people votes blue. And it's well, why did you have to go to such weird fucking data sets to you have to pull it out, all the data sets. No, I can figure that out. We could say that rich people are something Democrats somehow if we mess with the
reach around. That's quite a way around the circle. Is William Lane Craig do that one, or because it seems
sounds like his style, right? Yeah, because they can't just say, well, the Democrats have more billionaires, because that ain't true. Well, the Democrats have more money being donated, because that ain't true. The Democrats have, they can't actually say anything. And then it just also says so much about who makes better policy in what places. If the area codes are predominantly blue, that usually means that even the billionaires are it's actually better to live in an area where where Democrats are in charge, because they're taking care of the bottom two. And that way you don't have to put up all your fences with your barbed wire, because you're right next door there's people starving and desperate as shit. But
you have the right wing religious right Republican, the religious right, that claim to be Christian, and the press person there for Trump wears a cross every day, but then talks about booting all these people out of the United States, and talks about getting rid of transgender people here and there. That is the exact opposite message that Christianity should be putting forward. I don't know how you can say we want the 10 Commandments in school, but we don't want lunch programs for children, and say that we're doing God's work. Like, it doesn't even, how they rationalize that in their brain, it's beyond me.
Right. And it's crazy because, yeah, and they'll say, like, they like to make arguments about it being like the basis of all morality. And yet when you see them actually have the power or whatever, that they, can make legislative moves and everything, they're always advocating for whatever the opposite of the morality they say comes from their religion. It's all to like hurt somebody or take something away from somebody. It's never to help anybody. They're never like, trying to, even the Christians, they're not even like, oh, we're going to make it so that Christians get extra stuff. No, they just are making it so that Christians can take stuff away from other people.
Yes.
Because then that makes them feel better if they can take stuff from other people. That's so crazy to me. It's the same reason I think we don't have healthcare, is because you just have these people that are like looking side to side and going, hold on, but that guy doesn't deserve healthcare. I'm better than that guy, right? How come he gets to get surgery too? No, only I get surgery. That guy can die. I don't care. You know what? That's like the mentality. And it's like, dude, we're not talking about
that and the billions of dollars made by insurance companies, right? They have very powerful lobbies.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're probably the most powerful lobbies in the country.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's huge, and we don't have that here. My mother, a number of years ago, before she died, well, obviously, she had to have open heart surgery, right? She had 2 heart valves replaced. She had a 3rd heart valve repaired. She had a hole repaired. She had a double bypass. I have no idea what the cost is.
Holy
shit. I have no idea, because it's just done. Like, there's no bill. There's no, they look at, she had 2 weeks in ICU and everything else. You just like, I don't know what that would cost.
Hold on now.
I'm sure about it.
I've heard from prominent Republicans that there are waiting lists, that you just will die on the waiting list waiting to get surgery in Canada. That's what I've heard. I mean, that's not true.
No, it's not true. There is a waiting list, for sure, but not for critical surgery. Like, nothing critical. Like, if it's something that's not going to kill you, sometimes you have to wait a bit. But for critical stuff, my girlfriend, 15 years ago now, had breast cancer, very, very aggressive breast cancer, and she was taken care of like immediately and looked after. And here, 15 years later, she's cancer free, and that's because of a Canadian healthcare system. People in the United States die of breast cancer because they can't afford screening and they can't afford to be treated for it. Like, the lack of healthcare is much more impactful on the people that don't have money. Well, the people that have money don't give a shit because they got all the healthcare.
Yeah, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I worked in healthcare for many years, and like, I never saw anyone, die because they didn't get care they needed in a timely fashion. People that needed it quickly got it.
See, and the ironic thing here is that the waiting list thing. And they're like, they always say that about Canada. That happens here when you can't afford it. Because guess how long the waiting list is when you can't afford it? It's never. You can't ever get it, and then you die.
Right.
And that's actually happening here. And yet that's the argument they use for over there. It's so fucking frustrating.
If you look at the actual numbers, the life expectancy in Canada is longer than life expectancy in the United States. So if our healthcare isn't better, why do Canadians, on average, live longer? Right.
What, you got all that syrup? Y'all drink a lot of that.
It does help. Maple syrup does help, no question.
Yeah, it's the syrup in the poutine. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, absolutely. That's what it is right there.
Yeah,
and then being spry on your feet because of the geese.
Yeah,
that too.
Right from the little bastards, so it keeps us, gives us good cardio.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. Never know when you gotta Tom Cruise your ass out of there. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, thank y'all so much for hanging out. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
So, and tell us, like, here, let me put up the banner one more time, and we'll talk about the BAHA Con. So, we're gonna go to everybody go to BAHA Con. It's in Canada. Which is way better than the US. So.
Come on up and meet your emotional support Canadian.
Yeah, exactly. August 8 to 10. Tickets on sale, www.bahacon.com. There was early bird tickets are on right now. If you get an early bird ticket, you also will get a free BAHA Con t-shirt, which has all the speakers listed on the back. There's also the hotel information there. If you call the hotel for a room. Make sure you get the BAHA Con rate. We have a special rate for the hotel, save you a few bucks. So yeah, it's a brand new, all renovated 4-point Sheraton. It's a lovely hotel. We're just really looking forward to seeing people there.
Oh yeah, that's so awesome. Yeah, everybody go, be, buy a ticket, head out. You got plenty of time. It's not till August, and it's going to be a blast.
You
Yeah.
start walking now, Brantley. You can get here.
I know, right? Yeah, I could just get the old thumb. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going there. Oh yeah, everybody.
Yeah.
People love picking me up. That's jeez.
Well, each one does it for 40 years, I suppose.
But if everybody would please hit that like button so we can get this out further, so we can get the word out about BAHA Con, because everybody needs to know about this. It's pretty awesome. It's building community is like one of the most important things that we can do in the atheist community. So if we can get this out there, I think it'd be really great. But well, hey, thank you all again so much for hanging out. And,
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah. Bet this is really cool. But if anybody wants to support the show, you can support us doing all this stuff, right? You can become a patron, one-time payment on Cash App. You can become a member. You can email me at punkapostate@gmail.com. You can join our Discord, and you can follow me on all the socials. Links will be below. I also am going to put the links for the conference down below as well. But I'm going to do that as soon as I get off the live here, and we'll do that. But again, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And hey, the main thing though is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time.